Hey everyone, welcome to CBSE Learner. Today we are going to discuss the first chapter of class 11, which is The Portrait of a Lady by author Khushwant Singh. Now before I go into the lesson, I would like to share a few points about our author Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh was one of the famous Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist and a politician. He was born on 2nd Feb 1915 Hadali in Pakistan. He passed away at the age of 99 years in the year 2014, 20th March. He was awarded both Padma Vibhushan and Padma Bhushan award. His most famous work, which brought him in limelight, is A Train to Pakistan, which was published in the year 1956, which is based on his experience during independence in the year 1947. So this is a small introduction about our author Khushwant Singh. Now comes our lesson, The Portrait of a Lady. In this lesson, the author has drawn a life sketch pen portrait of his grandmother. He used to share an intimate relationship with his grandmother since childhood. But suddenly a turning point came in their relationship when the narrator's parents sent for them in the city. The English school, science and music didn't seem to be interesting for his grandmother. Next, the narrator went abroad for higher studies. His arrival after 5 years from abroad was an occasion for celebration. The old lady celebrated a lot unless and until she felt tired and fell sick. Later, she passed away. Her death was mourned not only by the narrator's family but also by the sparrows whom she used to feed regularly in the afternoon while living in the city. Now, this was an introduction which I thought to give you about the lesson. Okay, now you can see here some notice this expression in the context, infer their meaning from the context. So here few expressions have been given. Okay, so these expressions you will find out in the text in the and it is the reference to the context. You need to find out the meaning, and these all we will find in the text. Okay, the thought was almost revolting, an expanse of pure white serenity, a turning point, accepted her seclusion with resignation, a veritable bedlam of chirpings, frivolous rebukes, the sagging skin of the dilapidated drum. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's start the lesson. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. So here the narrator is saying that like everyone's grandmother, his grandmother was also an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for 20 years that I had known her. So for 20 years, the narrator used to know her and he has seen her always old and wrinkled only. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. Now, people used to tell him that when she was young, when his grandmother was young, she was very pretty and she used to had her husband also. It's definitely normal to have her husband, which was actually Naita's grandfather, right? So, but it was very hard for the narrator to believe that because he had always seen her old and wrinkled only. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest and he looked at least 100 years old. So when his grandfather's portrait was hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Now what is mantelpiece? Shelf above a fireplace. Okay, so nowadays you will not find mantelpiece in any home. Previously in olden days there used to be mantelpiece. Mantelpiece is a shelf above a fireplace. Okay, so above the mantelpiece they used to hang his grandfather's portrait. He used to wear a big turban and a loose fitting clothes. So big turban, in Sikh families they will wear big turban, right, which will cover their head. It's a type of headdress. Okay, so in most of the Sikh families they will prefer to wear big turban and they prefer to wear loose fitting clothes. and they will keep white, means not white, they will you keep beard also, long hair and beard also. So actually the picture of his portrait of his grandfather was of his olden age, right? So he was looking 100 years old. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. So by seeing the portrait of his grandfather, he didn't feel like this person can have wife, this person can have children also. Means he was looking so old in the portrait. He looked as if he could only have a lots and lots of grandchildren. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. Okay, so it was revolting, means it was striking, it is striking in his mind that it was disgusting for him to think that she was once beautiful and pretty. She often told us of the game she used to play as a child that seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. So her grandmother, every grandmother will tell their childhood stories to their grandchildren, right? So similarly his grandmother also used to tell that when she was a child she used to play this game, that game, like that she used to tell to the narrator. But it felt to be absolutely disgusting and ridiculous for the narrator to believe that and he used to feel that she is telling all stories, all fables, like all stories she used to, all stories she is telling to the narrator. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Means from here you can get the appearance of the narrator's grandmother. She was short and fat and slightly bent, maybe because of her age. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. On her face, on her body, everywhere she had wrinkles. No, we were certain she had always been as we had known her, old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. And he was thinking that since 20 years he had seen her like that only, and before 20 years also he found her that much old only. So he is thinking that she has not grew old, she was older before only, and she is continuing like that only. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. He is thinking that she was never pretty, but because she was his grandmother, she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and other telling over her pale, puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Okay, so she used to walk like a lame. Hobbled means she used to walk like a lame person. Okay, and with white in spotless white, and she used to wear white cloths which was not having any spot, and with one hand resting on her waist, she used to keep one hand on her waist to balance her stoop, and the other telling the beads of her rosary. Okay, so she used to chant always her all her rosary, and she used to pray always and which was sometimes audible and sometimes inaudible. Her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. So her silver locks used to her silver locks means her white hair. Here the narrator has compared her hair with silver locks because her hair has grown white, okay, because of her age. So it used to scatter untidily all over her pale face, and she used to roam like that only. And whenever she was roaming, she used to continuously chant her prayer. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. So she used to look beautiful. He is saying that she used to look beautiful like the winter landscape in the mountain. Here the narrator is comparing his grandmother's beauty with the winter landscape in the mountain, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. So she always presented a picture of peace and contentment. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. So both the narrator and his grandmother were close friends and good friends. The narrator's parents left him with his grandmother and they went to settle in the city, and they used to be constantly together only, narrator and his grandmother. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous singing song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So she used to continuously pray while dressing and bathing the narrator, and she used to think that monotonous means not changing, same. So she used to chant and she used to sing her morning prayer in a monotonous tone, and she used to hope that one day definitely the narrator is going to learn it and he is going to remember that. Okay, I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. So these all, in villages or in olden days, these things were required for school, like yellow chalk, tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen, tie them in all and hand it to me. After a breakfast of a thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. Okay, so she used to give narrator as a breakfast a stale chapati, and she used to spread some butter and sugar on it, and he used to have that, and they both of them used to go to school. While he used to go to school for reading or for education, she used to carry few more stale chapatis, means before days or chapatis, and she used to carry it along with him, and he used to feed the village dogs. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. So why his grandmother used to go along with him to school? Because it was attached to the temple and the priest used to teach them alphabet and morning prayer. While the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus means together, my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. So his grandmother will sit inside the temple and she would read the scriptures, holy scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. So while returning, once again the village dog used to meet them, and they used to fight among each other, those dogs, for the chapatis which they used to throw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. So why the narrator is saying that was a turning point in our friendship, we will definitely read further. But actually it was a turning point in their friendship because from that time onwards everything will change. Okay, before they both of them used to stay together and in a village where his grandmother was very nicely accustomed to the village culture and everything. But once they will go to the city, everything seems to change for them. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our house. So now what happened? The narrator used to go to school, not in a village school, in an English school where he used to go by motor bus, and there were no dogs in the street. And so what she used to do, she used to feed sparrows instead of dogs in the courtyard of their home. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. So once, as the years rolled by, they used to have less communication with each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up, but still sometimes she will go and she will wake the narrator up and she will get him ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. When he used to return, she used to ask what the teacher had taught him in school. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. So he used to tell that a few English words because he was going to an English school. So definitely he is going to learn some English words and little bit of science and Archimedes' principles, law of gravity, all these things he used to tell to his grandmother. But his grandmother used to feel unhappy. Why? Because she was not aware of all these theories, principles and all. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. As she was an old lady, she used to always believe in God, and she used to think that everything should be related to God. So when she had found that there was no teaching about God and scriptures in school, so she used to feel some distressed, and she was not satisfied. It made her unhappy. One day I announced that we were given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd association. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentlefolk. Okay, so one day, definitely in every English school, they are going to give some co-curricular and extracurricular activities, right? So one day in narrator school also, they have given some one music lesson. So after discussing about that lesson with his grandmother, she felt very disturbed. Why? Because according to her, it was only for the harlots and the beggars, not for the gentlemen or the gentlefolks of the society. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She really talked to me after that, and she used to talk less after that, along with the narrator. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. Now what happened? When he went to university, now he was allotted a separate room. Now their common link of friendship, it has got snapped. So the common link of friendship between them was broken. Right. My grandfather accepted her seclusion with resignation. So she accepted her loneliness with submission. Okay, right, I am going to stay alone only. Now he has grown up and he needs a separate place or space and room for his own. So she accepted everything very silently and peacefully. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. So she, during olden days, our grandmother used to spin wheel, right? It's a household device for spinning yarn or thread. Okay, so she used to spin the spinning wheel, and hardly she used to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Okay, so she used to spin from morning to evening, from sunrise to sunset. She used to spin the wheel, and she used to recite her prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. So during afternoon she used to relax herself. How? By feeding the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. So while she used to tear those breads into little bits for feeding the sparrows, to feed the sparrows, they used to make some noise, some real noise of confusion, and they used to chirrup around her. Some came and perched on her leg, others on her shoulder. Some used to come and sit on her legs, some on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. She used to smile but never drove them away. It used to be the happiest half an hour of the day for her. So she used to feel happy, and it seemed to be the happiest half an hour of the day for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. So, when he decided that for further studies he want to go abroad, he felt that maybe his grandmother will feel upset. She will feel sad. I would be, and he was going abroad for 5 years, and definitely anyone of her age will definitely feel sad if their grandson or their near ones are going to stay far distance and for long years, right? So he thought that definitely his grandmother is going to feel upset. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. But his grandmother was not that much sentimental he expected. She came to leave him at station to see him off, and she didn't show any emotion, or she didn't cry, or she knew how to balance her emotions, right? Her lips moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer, but one thing she was continuously doing was she was praying, and continuously praying, and her mind was totally lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. Okay, so before leaving, he felt her her feelings, and he felt like this is the last sign of physical contact between both of them. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. While leaving, he thought that maybe this is the last time that he is meeting his grandmother. Maybe something can happen like that because she was old enough. But after he returned, after 5 years, when he returned home, he saw his grandmother, and she came to receive him at the station. And to him, she was not looking one day older also. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arm, I could hear her reciting her prayer. And while she hugged him, he can still hear that she is still reciting and chanting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moment were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer with frivolous rebukes. So when even he returned after 5 years, and it was the happiest moment for her that her grandson has returned from abroad, still she was busy with her sparrows. With she was busy feeding her sparrows with frivolous rebukes. Frivolous means not serious. Rebukes means scolding, with light scolding. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skin of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Okay, so at evening, he felt some sudden change, like his grandmother gathered few women of neighborhood, and they started singing song, beating. They arranged one sagging drum, and they started singing song. And the song, which song they were singing? The songs which people used to sing when the warriors used to return home after the war, right? So those songs she was singing at that time. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So it was the first time the narrator saw her that she didn't pray that day. Okay, and they were forced to stop her because it may overstrain her and give her stress. The next morning she was taken ill. So next morning she fell sick. It was mild fever and doctor told us that it would go. And she was having mild fever and they called the doctor and doctor said that it is a mild fever and it will go. Don't need to worry. But my grandmother thought differently. But his grandmother, she thought differently. She told us that her end was near and she told everyone that she is going to die. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So his grandmother called everyone and she said that before end of the last chapter of her life, she forgot to pray. And now she is not going to waste any time talking to her family members. She wants to pray. We protested, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and rosary fell from her lifeless finger. So they protested that what type of words she is uttering, but she ignored, she avoided their protest and she lay peacefully in bed and she started praying. Suddenly, before their doubt, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless finger. A peaceful pallor spread on her face and we knew that she was dead. And they felt that she died. We lifted her off the bed and, as is customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. Okay. So, as a custom, they lifted her from the bed and they laid her on the ground and covered her with a red cloth. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangement for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. So they made arrangement for her funeral, and in the evening they took her with a crude stretcher, and they took her for her last ritual. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. Okay, that time the sun was about to set and it had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard. All over the veranda, in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud, thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. Okay, so they stopped half in the courtyard. All over the veranda and in her room, up to where she lay dead and wrapped, thousands of sparrows came to visit her. There was no chirruping. They were not chirruping anymore. We felt sorry for the birds and my mother fed some bread for them. They felt sorry for those birds, and the narrator's mother, she brought some bread to feed those sparrows. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. The sparrows didn't care to see the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So, when they took his grandmother's corpse, the bird flew away quietly in a silent manner without making any noise. And next morning, even they didn't take one bit of bread also. And next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So this is the text, student. In my next video, I am going to discuss few main points about this lesson. Okay, so if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. For further question and answer and everything, please keep watching my videos. I am going to post my question answer videos in the next video, right? Bye.